All right. Good evening, sorry friend, the Midi Man coming at you again. Walks Music with yet another word. Matter of fact, we on our walk through the Word, the yearly walk. We already at the Book of Exodus. We just got to the second book of the Pentateuch, Exodus here, written by Moses himself. And what we want to do right now, on the last video, on the walk through the Word, I gave the final conclusion of the book of Genesis. We finished up with the book of Genesis by the death of Jacob and Joseph burying him at Machpelah, the parcel of land that Abraham purchased with the price of money, a sum of money from the Hittite. And we want to stop here, and we want to review. We want to go back and we want to recap what we've done thus far. In other words, starting at the book in the Garden of Eden, God created from the creation of the world. We saw where God made everything beautiful. God created everything perfect. Everything was there for the man, Adam, and then he created Eve. He made Eve out of the rib of Adam, placed him in a beautiful garden that he prepared himself. Everything was already done. And then we see that even in a perfect environment, we still wasn't able to do right. Adam sinned by disobedience, which is mainly all of us, same thing, disobey. We don't want to obey. You can tell people things, real simple things. People for find a way to undo what you try to tell them to do. I've lived through that myself. But nevertheless, God still was looking out for man. So he kept him away from the tree of life so sin wouldn't live forever. So he drove man out of the garden. And there we see sin got so bad and violence got so rough in the world until God repented that he even made man in the first place. He sent a great flood, but he spared Noah. Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. He found grace, and so he spared Noah and his 3 sons with their wives and his wife, 8 souls that were saved throughout the whole world, giving the world another chance. Then we see after that, and then God made a covenant with the earth that he would never destroy everything and all flesh by way of a flood anymore. And he gave us the sign about the rainbow. So that was the covenant sign with God, and Noah was the rainbow. Then we came on after that, and man began to multiply again. And then we see yet again at the Tower of Babel with Nimrod. You get that around the 11th chapter of Genesis, where Nimrod was a mighty man in the land, and all the people had gathered themselves together in the land of Shinar, in the plains of Shinar, and they had built this tower that was going to reach up to heaven. You see what they was trying to do? Man was smart. They was trying to build another tower, so if it be another flood, they can go up on that tower. And they were smart, but God came down. God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit said, let us go down and confuse their languages. In other words, man has become one. They're one. And now nothing that they ever desire to do, they won't be able to do if they put their mind to it, because they are together. That's a tip there, people. But at any rate, we came to that, so God came down again. But this time the judgment wasn't as bad as the flood, but he just confused their languages. So everybody that spoke whatever language, the same as they got together and they went different parts and they spread out on the face of the earth. Then in chapter 12, we see where God began to deal with Abraham. And the thing about it is, you got to understand, people, that Abraham was a Gentile himself. See, God created the Israelite, the Jewish people was a miracle. They was a miracle people. God created them and made that nation for his purpose. And to get the Messiah, Jesus himself, into this world. Because like I said, Gentile, we pagan pagan as we could be. We were crazy, really. And so we see now that God dealing with Abraham. And The covenant that he made with Abraham wasn't like the one he made with Noah. He gave Noah a rainbow, but he gave Abraham a circumcision. So you see, in other words, this here was being cut. In other words, this here was a blood covenant here. And it's a lot more that we can say about it, but I'm not going to do that here because it's unnecessary, because we are walking through the Word. You're going to see this as we go through the Word this year, or next year, I should say. And then now we see that the nation that came down to 70 souls with Jacob that went down into Egypt. And they prospered, and God took care of them. Joseph saved the whole nation's life by getting them down to Egypt. And so now we have come to Exodus, second book of Moses, Pentateuch, second book. And you see where Pharaoh is already. They said it's a Pharaoh that did not know Joseph. But I'm going to tell y'all something about that. I don't believe that. As great as Joseph was in the land of Egypt, there's no way that this Pharaoh could not know Joseph. What I believe, now this is just my belief now, this is not the Bible. This is just what I believe. What I believe that it's saying that he knew not Joseph, meaning that he didn't care to know Joseph. He wasn't worried about Joseph, but he was going to deal hard with those people because there were so many. And they were great. That's what I believe. Because there ain't no way in the world you could have a man as great as Joseph that lived in your country and he was second to Pharaoh. And then here come another Pharaoh that didn't know nothing about him. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. See, people don't want to know you when you are great. When people get their mind made up to try to belittle you, they don't want to know you. They put you down low. You can just about bet when God get ready to put you up and raise you up, everybody that connected to you just about it, that don't mean you no good, gonna start cutting the food with you. You can bet that. Now I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. You can count on that. People start acting a fool with you. But at any rate, this Pharaoh called himself disregarded Joseph. He didn't care nothing about them people being Joseph. He wasn't studying about what Joseph had did. So now we see that this Pharaoh had the nerve to even tell the midwives that when they go in unto the Hebrew women to kill the male children. The midwives didn't do it. Why? They didn't do it because they had something that a lot of us don't have these days and time. They feared God. Most of us don't fear God no more. We do everything, whatever we want to do, however we want to do it, whenever we want to do it. But most of us have no fear of God. I don't care. Don't nobody like it. That's just the truth. Well, that didn't work. So then he said they told him to throw him in the river. Well, they did do that. There was a big slaughter of the male children of Israel at that particular time. But Moses found grace this time. Moses was found by Pharaoh's sister. Pharaoh's sister. And in other words, he was the Pharaoh. Matter of fact, well, we can say it like this here. Pharaoh's daughter. Because it was her brother was the Pharaoh. Her brother was the Pharaoh, but this was Pharaoh's daughter. The Ramesses that became to be the Pharaoh during the time of the Exodus, that was Moses' mama that drew him from the river. That was her brother. But this was Pharaoh's daughter that found Moses out and drew him out the river. And Moses found favor. And he grew up to be a great child and a great Egyptian, and Moses and everything. And now we see where Moses, in the first 5 chapters of Exodus, where Moses had to go away from Egypt because he saw one of the Egyptians treating one of his brethren bad, and he killed him. So he fled Egypt. God sent him back to tell him to let Pharaoh to let my people go. But we find one thing out there. Before God got Moses, it took God a while to get Moses convinced to go back. Moses kept giving excuses, just like us. God tells us to do something, we give him all kinds of excuses why we can't do it. All of us are guilty. Every one of us are guilty at some point in some time where God told us to do something, and we gave God more trouble than we were worth, really. Thank God for Jesus. But nevertheless, Moses God told Moses that I was going to be with you. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Israel is my firstborn son. Told him to let my son go. Don't let my son go. I'm going to kill yours. And then you know that's exactly what God did. He killed the firstborn of every Egyptian. There wasn't a house in Egypt that didn't have one dead in it when the angel of death came through. Well, that's what the people said, the angel of death, but God came through. You better read your scriptures right. It was God that came through Egypt. It was God. So we see this, and now that's where we are at. We're in the location now, the first 5 chapters of Exodus, and Moses is yet trying to contend and complete with Pharaoh to let his people go. And so that's what we are at now, up to date it through from creation up until this point. God is yet dealing. We got to get Jesus there on the scene. Jesus is going to come on the scene, but there's a series of things that got to happen. And as we walk through this word, you're going to see, and I hope, is my prayer to everybody that follow me on this, you're going to see. It ain't no way in the world you're not going to be able to see it. But if those that pay attention. Because let me tell you something, people, that I'm going to end this video. Some of us are not really even concerned about nothing. I mean, it's you would think that people would be, but most it's a lot of us are not worried about nothing about God. Believe it, people. A lot of us, we could care less about things about God, about what God and trying to show us in these times, people. But I'm going to tell you like this. You're going to want to know. I know people say, well, Mitty Man, how do you know there is a God? Well, how do you know there's not one? I would rather try to do what the Bible says and accept and believe in the law, believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, and be saved than sorry. Because if I get to the end and there'll be no heaven or hell, I'll be all right. So will you. But what if there is a heaven and a hell? You will not be all right. Simple as that. Logic. This is Mitty Man. Saying whatever you get into, God ain't in it, come out of it. We're going to walk through this word this year, people. And we're going to do it right this time. It's not just going to be no blasting reading for content, reading for speed. We're going to read for the meat of the word. We're going to go down in it, and we're going to, matter of fact, sometimes we may reread to make certain we're getting the meat of the word and the understanding. This is Mitty Man. Till the next time, next video, next Bible study. Remember, I told y'all I probably will not have Bible study tomorrow night. My Vonage device went out. They're sending me another one. I won't get it. It is projected to get here on Wednesday. So it stands a good chance I may not have Bible study tomorrow night. But then again, I might just do it anyway. I might just change my regular phone for Vonage, put it on my landline, and still have it. It's just according to how I feel about it tomorrow. So with that said, this is Mitty Man saying peace. Good night.